From the heart of the Motor City, it's time for Arc Junkies Podcast. That's right, punch in, turn it up, and weld hard. And the man behind the mic, the one, the only, your host, Jimmy McKnight.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you so very much for calling. It's awesome to have you on the show.
Oh my gosh, it is so awesome to be invited onto the show. This is something we don't do very often. So yes, really, really, really stoked.
Well, good. I'm very stoked too. I'm probably just as excited as you are.
Are you as nervous as we are? Because I guarantee you that both of us are drinking wine right now. Karen, am I speaking for just myself or?
No.
Yeah, no worries. I've done enough of these to where I've figured out the nerves are just gone. It's just a podcast now. Your nerves will be gone in about 5 seconds, promise.
Oh my God, I hope so. Let me tell you, I'm on TV all the time, right?
Yeah.
And yet still, I had a live interview for talking about women in machine because we're going to be at the San Antonio Auto Show coming up in November.
Mm-hmm.
And so someone from local news came out, and still I was so nervous. Oh my gosh, couldn't eat anything all day. Felt like I was going to throw up. I'm like, oh my God, this person's going to 30 seconds.
That's
30
totally
seconds I was
different.
interviewed for, and it just, it was the worst.
Yeah, that's totally different. I get that way too because when I have to do the when I have to do live shows, it's totally different because literally you might think I'm in some big fancy studio right now. I'm laying on my bed with my feet kicked up, having a great time, drinking some water.
You're supposed to say wine.
Well, when I have to do the live shows, oh my gosh, about a half hour before I hit start, my palms are all sweaty. I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. I don't know if I can do this. And it's like, wait a minute, you've done this 10,000 times. You can do this. And I'm like, that's right, I can do this. I got to psych myself up for it. And then until I hit start, I am seriously so nervous and just And then as soon as I start talking, it just goes away. And it's like, okay, yeah, I remember how to do this. Okay, let's do this.
Oh my gosh. Well, I have to say it was awesome. It was awesome meeting you. You seemed just very confident and serve yourself in person. And you have a great radio voice. I feel like this is kind of your calling.
Thank you. I hope so. It's an absolute pleasure meeting you as well. I guess we can thank Roadkill Nights for that. Otherwise, this podcast probably wouldn't be happening this quick. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
right.
Well, thank you so much for having us and for the invite. I'm looking forward to this.
Anytime. All right, so let's talk about Woman and Machine. Now, admittedly, until I met you, Faye, and then talked to you, Karen, I had no idea what Woman and Machine was. And so I binged everything that I could find. I followed you on Instagram and looked at all your posts. I went and watched your YouTube videos. I found your YouTube channel after that. So I tried to go in as far as I could. And some of the things that I found that I really would like to touch on first, before we get into how it all kind of came together, is you threw on an event yourselves. This was like a car show / weld lab / pinstripe class. I mean, you guys kind of really threw a whole thing together on your own. So let's talk about how that came to be, and then the response from that, and we'll kind of go back into how everything came together in the first place.
Oh wow, it's kind of a funny story actually. I had a bunch of women that were just very very prominent in the industry reach out to me and say that they wanted to meet me. And oh my gosh, Faye, I cannot wait to meet you. I want to fly to San Antonio and meet you and see what's going on and see what you're all about. And there was quite a few, 4 or 5, actually 5 women had reached out to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I guess I would love to meet these people, but they're just going to come and see what my pathetic little house, my old car, what do I have to offer these people? So I really wanted to meet other women in the industry. I was so excited about it. And this was, long before I was ever in All Girls Garage, or long before I had done the build. Not the build. What am I thinking, Karen? Long before I ever started my YouTube channel, people had seen my posts on Instagram and just wanted to meet me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. So I've got to do something to give them something if they're going to come all the way to San Antonio. So I was like, well, I'll put on an event. And so it was kind of born out of that, of just like sort of this feeling of inadequacy of just like, I have nothing to offer these incredible women that for some reason want to meet me. Mm-hmm. And I had met Karen at SEMA beforehand. And she had reached out to me about writing an article for her magazine. And I was a total bitch to her. Wasn't I, Karen?
In some ways, yeah, but not completely.
I was so rude. I was in the middle of so much chaos. I was like, oh, there's no way I could do something like that. I'm not a writer. I can't do it for free. No way. Don't talk to me. Whatever. So Karen was just super nice. Anyway, I reached back out to Karen. I was like, Karen, I'm doing this event. I don't know what I'm doing. Will you help me and will you come and take photos? Because at the time I wanted her for media.
And this is this is already after you were mean to her.
I was a little bit. Oh, yeah. I was mean to her. Yeah. And she was like, I'll be there. And things just kept on coming together. More women kept on saying yes when I reached out to them and asked. And the next thing that I knew, and I'm not an event planner, I'm a mechanic. Next thing I knew, I was way in over my head, but all of these women came and just the event went awesome. Considering the fact that it was a rainy day in San Antonio, we had a huge turnout. Everyone just really enjoyed it. And it was a lot of work for me. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I want to really do anything like this again, but it was so powerful. And then Karen was like, no, let's keep this going.
Yeah. This is annually.
Yes. Yeah. Not only that, but she said, hey, can we do this where I live? I came down here and I supported you and this was awesome. I need this where I live.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, okay, sure. And it grew out of that, but it was kind of accidental, which is also how I started my business. I was just like, well, I'm just doing this. And it just sort of happened and grew larger than I expected it to in a short amount of time. And then Karen morphed from doing just media. I realized that she had so many more talents other than just writing and taking photos. I had no idea that she was a super talented welder as well. Wow. So I was like, Karen, if we go up there though, you got to teach welding, man. You got to share this. And what was your response, Karen? Because it was not good at first.
No, it wasn't a good response. I was like, yeah, I don't really know about that. I'll get back to you if I'm going to do that. And then, I don't know, you kept talking to me about it, and I started talking to Todd, my husband, about it, and he was like, why don't you? It's like, you could do it. So then I was having two supporters, and I was like, you know what? I'll try it out. I'll see about teaching.
You got nothing to lose. And it just so happened that that I had gone to the Hand-Built Motorcycle Show here in Austin, Texas, and I was having a good time. I'd had some whiskey beverages when I found my way over at the Lincoln Electric booth because I really wanted to meet Jesse Combs, and she was there.
Right.
And there were some other amazing women there, and no one really wanted to talk to me for whatever reason, probably because I'm weird. And but I somehow ended up talking to these amazing ladies at Lincoln Electric and telling them about Woman Machine and how we do all these classes. And at that time, we didn't have a welding instructor yet because I was still trying to convince Karen that she should do this. Mm-hmm. But somehow I convinced Lincoln Electric that we were worthy of giving some welders to. So we got some welders. I'm like, all right, well, now we got to do something with them. So wow. Karen, come on, man, you really got to do this now. Come through for me. Yeah.
I'm gonna get you liquored up and just bring you with me to events. That'll help big time.
It was good. We had a really good time.
Cool, cool.
I had a really good time.
At least I did. I know I partied.
It was kind of born out of a bunch of random happenstances, but the response was so good, and we kept on having so many women, not only complete novices who just wanted to learn how to talk to a mechanic and how to pop their hoods, but then we also had women who, from actually all across the country come to our events who just wanted to meet other women like them and volunteer their time to teach classes. So now at the events, we have women from, we have a welder who comes all the way from, where in California, Karen? Los Angeles area, maybe.
San Antonio. Not sorry, San Diego. There's too many Sands there.
That's right. Yeah, San Diego. We have a painter from Phoenix, Arizona, and it's amazing how far these women are willing to travel to donate their time to share their gifts.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's super humbling, and it's been, I don't know, it's been crazy.
You know, I think that really speaks to determination for the movement as well, because there is a group here in Michigan called Women Who Weld, and it's run by this woman and her husband, Samantha Farr. And what she does is this whole program is dedicated to getting women, you know, the entry-level skills enough to where they can at least get the job and get their foot in the door, you know. And some of these women, you know, they're not in exactly the greatest areas. They can't exactly get out of it. Some of them are literally taking a 2-hour bus trip one way just to get to this school to be taught by them for a week-long course. But what it does is it gets them out of working at Wendy's, out of working at, you know, all these lower paid jobs, and it actually gets them into the entry-level welding pay. And some of them within like 3 to 6 months have jumped from there into places like the Iron Workers Union. They've gone into, you know, I mean, they've just taken it and ran with it, you know, and I'm talking within a matter of 6 to 8 months since they started their first job after they got out of the welding class. It's amazing. I mean, I don't know a lot of guys that would do that, and I'm not just trying to say that. I'm serious. You know, a lot of the people I've talked to, like 2 hours. I ain't driving 2 hours for that. You're kidding me. It's like, well, that's why they're going to do something, and you're not. That's 100% why. You know.
Well, absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, that's why I think what we're doing is so important. We call ourselves like the gateway drug in a way. You know, we're just like, we give them a little bit of hands-on, and just to give them a chance to see if they like it. Because for, you know, what I find a lot of, what I hear a lot of people say is, especially in the automotive trades, who teach the automotive trades rather, it's like, wow, the women in my class are really just the best. And like, well, that doesn't mean that women are the best or women are better. What it means is that the women who end up showing up to those programs, they have already gone over a ton of freaking hurdles to get there.
Exactly.
Because no one says to a young woman in high school, well, you know, your grades aren't that great. You know, you're probably not going to get into college. So why don't you try the trade? You know, I hear that. I hear guidance counselors sort of guiding young men in that direction. But, you know, that's not really, there's no plan B in the trades for women. So when they make the decision to work in the trades, they've already had to go against their parents' wishes. You know, the society telling them it's not their place. You know, people, you know, sometimes being the minority is always difficult. But they've already made it through those hurdles, and so they're there, and they really want to be there. And I think that's really cool. I mean, there's such a huge trades deficit right now. Everyone that I speak to in automotive is like, oh my gosh, we need more good skilled technicians. We need more good skilled welders. It's like, what the heck is wrong here? You know, and there hasn't been an appreciation of the trades in so long. And we forget that this is a very good way to make a living, and that there is so, I mean, we have to problem solve. We have to think on our toes. You know, this is so much different than what it used to be working in the trades.
Right.
And so I think it's really important that programs like that, like Women Who Weld and like Women in Machine are out there reminding people, hey, look, we are doing this. We love this. Yeah, we don't mind getting dirty. You know, we don't mind working hard and, you know, sweating all day in my 100-degree shop. You know, not only do I have fun, I make a good living, and I'm not stupid, right? You know, this wasn't the path I took because I couldn't graduate high school. This is a path I chose because I love it.
Yeah, you can tell you're very passionate about it. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So, Karen, you started Woman in Machine as a magazine, is that correct? Or was it under a different name?
So Woman in Machine is kind of our separate entity.
Okay.
That's the education side.
Okay.
But I started a magazine called Girls in Garages.
Oh, that's what okay, I'm sorry. I knew I was missing something there. Thank you for filling in the blanks.
No problem.
So how did
I
how did
started
you
that
kind of get
years
with all
ago.
that going? How did that kind of get started? I mean, where did you just get the idea? Like, I'm just going to start this garage magazine.
Well, I had met my now husband 8-9 years ago, and I met him in his brother's garage.
Shout out
And
now,
he's
husband.
a welder. Yes. Yep. I met him in his brother's garage, and he was welding rear axle into my friend's Jeep. Like, we drove my friend's Jeep down there that night, tore out the axle and put it back in. I had never done that, ever seen it done before.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Like, I've never even experienced or been around welding. That seems kind of cool. Like, I didn't even know you're not supposed to look at the arc. Not supposed to.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything.
Learn
and they
that
all
one real
warned
quick.
me. Yeah. They all warned me beforehand. They're like, yeah, don't do this. I'm like, that sounds kind of scary too, but it's still kind of cool. And my husband really got me into kind of the automotive side of things and building stuff, because what he likes to do is fabricate and build cars on the side. His job is a welder pipe fitter for the union.
Awesome.
And he, maybe like a year into our relationship, was like, do you want to try welding? And I was like, I don't think so. I don't really know if that's for me. And he's like, just put the hood on. Like, let's just give this a try. It's not as bad as you think it is. I had the worst experience. I was like hyperventilating. Like, no, you can't make me do this. Oh my God. I'm going to die. And he's like, you're fine. It's okay. I had a lot of anxiety over trying welding for the first time.
You're not alone in that. Honestly, you're not alone in that. That's why they literally came out with this augmented reality style training that people do first.
No way.
Yes, where it's like virtual reality style training. And because, to a lot of people, just going up and literally controlling a small explosion, right by your face is intimidating to some people. There's sparks flying. You're right there. I mean, some people are like, hell no, I ain't touching that. But they get behind this video game style training, and then it breaks down that wall so that when they actually do get to strike an arc, it's not so intimidating anymore, and they're not going to go through what you went through, because it happens to tons and tons of people.
Yeah, no, even some of the women who first come into the workshops or my classes that I do, like, you can tell which ones are a little more nervous about it. And I'm like, it's not that bad. Like, it's okay. I'll tell you about my first experience. And I tell them, they're like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. And they try it and they're like, oh, okay. But you can definitely tell, like, as soon as they strike up, someone just jumps and they're like, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
What the heck?
Oh yeah.
And it's so cool too that you started out with that experience, Karen, because you can really meet these women on their level wherever they're coming from. And I think that's really, really important too. It's also creating that vibe of like, hey, we're not judging you. Like, we've been through this. This is hard. This can be scary. And we're here to make sure that it's super comfortable for you. And also, I just have to say, Karen is so humble. So you're probably never going to hear the whole story from her, but this woman, first of all, she and her husband are like the power couple. It's like, it's what everyone in automotive just like dreams of, is having as their relationship. They build the coolest cars together. And when we have the Woman and Machine event in New England, I always get the pleasure of staying with them. And we were just like spending all weekend working on these off-roading machines and just like off-roading around the course that they built in their front yard, and of these crazy cars they've built together with their combined mechanical and welding skills. It is awesome. Like, it's literally what everyone probably dreams of having. And if you haven't yet seen the builds that Karen has done, she has a rear wheel drive Mark I, first generation Volkswagen Rabbit, sitting on a S chassis.
Yeah, Karen? S10 chassis. Yeah, we custom fabricated the rear portion.
And she did all the welding for it. It's like, no one ever knows because she's so freaking humble. She doesn't put it out there. But, and this is coming from someone who was scared of welding at first, So I think that hearing our story and reaching these women on that level of being like, hey, this is some crazy shit we're doing. and also, that experience of, Karen, of getting into automotive and getting into welding through your husband, I think, is one that a lot of women can relate to as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. At least whenever I talk to people, or even a majority of our friends around here, it's like their boyfriends like bring their girlfriends into the garage, and they're like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." And then they see me, and I'm actually working on the stuff, and they're like,
Yes.
"She's actually doing stuff." And then they're like, "Can we do that?" I'm like, "Come on over.
Come on down.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes,
I
and they
can't
see
wait
you
for
and
that.
everything else you do, you know?
Yeah, I have a little 2-year-old daughter, and I just started my own. I just kind of made the jump finally into my own fabrication business out in the garage, and I hear her playing in the house, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like, one day she's gonna come out here and want to learn how to do this. Like, this is gonna be awesome. I can't wait for that. So I'm so happy that there's actually women like you out there for her to look up to, as she gets older. And it's not like just my child alone. There are so many women that are looking up, to what you are doing, because you're literally breaking doors down that have not been done before, not at this level, and definitely not in this day and age, 100%. With the way that the internet backs everything up, and the way that everybody can find everybody now, you're able to learn stuff from people in ways that you have never been able to do it before. And the fact that you're actually out there doing that is huge.
Well, thank you so much. It's something that, that both Karen and I really struggle with is just making sure that we put ourselves out there on social media. And while we do have an Instagram for Woman and Machine, it's like both of us have a hard time, writing about ourselves. So we end up writing posts about each other, I write posts like
That's a great way to compromise and get it done, though.
She does. It is. Yeah, it really is. And just like what you were saying about your daughter, Karen also sets a really good example, because she's also a mom. Actually, her daughter turns 3 tomorrow.
Awesome.
And it is just so awesome seeing what Karen shares about just pictures of her daughter just wanting to be like mom and putting on her little welding hat and her safety glasses. And it's like, yes. That is so cool, because that little girl is growing up. Charlotte's growing up knowing that she could do anything she wants to, and that she sees her mom, being a fantastic writer, photographer, homemaker, mom, wife, and welder. And that's awesome,
Yeah, I love that. So let's shift gears real quick and talk about SEMA, because this is coming up, and I know you have a lot going on, including a Taco Tuesday party.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, thank you for asking. We have a lot going on, actually. Karen and I have a couple appearances that we're going to be doing, signing some autographs and telling people about how awesome Woman Machine is. And yes, on Tuesday night, from 7 to 10 at Pink Taco, it's the second annual Tradeswomen Tacos and Tequila Night, which, as we already sort of set the stage for, Karen and I, oh yes, we love tacos and tequila. So, and so it's just a bonus, because SEMA can be stressful. You pass the business cards around, making deals, trying to smooth with people and get sponsorships. And our goal for Taco Tuesday is just to get a bunch of tradeswomen together and meet, just like the spirit of Woman and Machine, to meet other people like us, and find that sisterhood where we can sort of relax in an environment where we don't have to prove anything to anyone, because we already know the struggles that we've been through as women who are trying to make our way in this industry. And we're sort of playing off of an event that happened last year that we loved. And we partnered with Twiggy Talent, who's also a welder and a fabricator. And we're like, hey, this is a perfect fit. We were trying to figure out how to do an event. And we're like, hey, we're all about bringing women together. So instead of stepping on other women's toes and creating yet another event, let's see who would be willing to combine forces with us and bring even more women in trades together. So it just seems like a little match made in heaven.
Yeah, that's a great way to go about it too. I like how you said, instead of creating competition in two different events and pulling people apart, work together and bring everybody together. That's a great way to do that. We kind of take that same approach for FabTech. Instead of everybody having their own, meet and greets, it's like about 3 of us will get together and create one giant one, and then everybody will show up to that, and we'll kind of rotate throughout the nights, But it's a great way to do things, and a great way to network with people too. There's so many, because at an event like that, I haven't got a chance to get to see me yet. I've been trying for the last couple of years, but my daughter was born on Halloween, so I can't exactly like it's hard for me to get out there during that time. So maybe in the future, but FabTech we do, and it's those events are almost more important, I think, than the actual event itself, because that's where you're going to meet the people that you necessarily can't either get close to or meet during the event, because they're busy. They're booked to be at this event from a certain time to do a job, and then they got to go over to this booth and do the same thing. Where at these after hour events that everybody kind of gets at for the meet and greets, you're going to get a chance to meet, and not just meet, have a conversation with these people to learn stuff that maybe you haven't thought of yet.
Absolutely. Right. And everyone's got to eat, and everyone loves tacos. Just saying. I mean, well, but maybe making a gross generalization here.
I don't think anybody listening to the show doesn't like tacos. Like, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, cool. But that was actually like how Woman and Machine was born. With a series of YouTube questions. It should be. But starting conversations with other women.
Awesome.
It not only was it an event, but then we also had a series of questions where we invited other women to create YouTube videos. And what we realized was that, hey, for some people, putting themselves out there and making a video is not the way that they want to introduce themselves to the world or to each other. So we've sort of taken that and sort of integrated it into Girls and Garages magazine in a way where we're going to do a series of articles, as well as create this the Garage Sisterhood Collective. So there's all this. We have all this energy right now, and all this ambition and all this focus, and there's so much that's going to be happening for us in the future that we're just so excited about. So we're just we're so grateful for the opportunity to share it with you today.
So, with the YouTube stuff now, like you were just talking about, I mean, I would imagine with the popularity of your channel growing, that women are kind of coming up to you like, hey, how can I kind of get started and do my own YouTube channel? Do you get those questions?
Absolutely, and that was sort of a lot of them don't know how to start. So that's why we started Woman and Machine Questions. Is once a month we would just ask a question that all of us get asked all the time, such as, what were the biggest challenges that you faced getting into the automotive trades? What got you into cars in the first place? What advice would you give to another woman in automotive? How did you get started in your business? And so, we ask those questions and we answer them on both public and private YouTube videos. So some of us are like putting ourselves out there. So we just sort of make a private video and share links to people that only, that are sort of within our little group or whenever we feel like sharing them. And that was originally a way to get women feeling comfortable about creating content.
Mm-hmm.
But, what a lot of people don't realize, people ask me all the time, like, hey, how did you get on TV? How did you start your business? How did you do all this stuff? Like, how did you start Woman Machine? And, it's, none of it was planned. And maybe I don't think I'm speaking for just myself here, Karen. I don't know if you feel the same way, but, even starting my business wasn't planned. Becoming a mechanic was not planned. Starting Woman Machine wasn't planned. It's just, it's just doing what you are truly passionate about, finding your place in this world, following what you love, following your bliss. Not every day is perfect. Not every day are you happy. Not every day is a cakewalk. There are days that are so freaking hard. But if you're following your heart and your passion and you're living an authentic life that's true to yourself and your spirit, and you work really hard, people will notice and things will happen for you. This didn't happen for me overnight. I've been working in automotive for 10 years now. I know I look young, but I'm in my mid 30s. So, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time coming. And for Karen too, I think, Karen, you've done a couple of relaunches of the magazine and just like sort of found the place and then lost it and then found it again, but sort of always come back to that place because you had that authentic motivation, that pure drive that wasn't about this whole like, hey, look at me, like I'm trying to be famous or I'm trying to be this person. It's just it's just that true love of what you do, that true desire to put yourself out there and serve other women and serve other people in general in the trades. That sort of keeps you going. That was a long answer to that question.
No, I think it's extremely important, especially nowadays, to create content, especially if you're going into a business. Okay. having social media presence when you're starting out, or if you're just, say you're this person in your garage and you just like to tinker around, creating content is so important, especially if you're looking to do anything with it. And it's all very weird at first. I mean, you're sitting there looking at a camera, talking to a camera, or like what I do, I'm sitting here talking to a microphone in a room by myself sometimes for like 45 minutes.
It's hard.
I mean, yes, like it takes time to get comfortable with doing that. And are people going to listen to this? I don't know. Let's hope so. Press play. I mean, it's very hard to kind of get, comfortable with actually doing that and getting past being your own worst critic. But what happens is if you're just real and you're that all the little quirks and the pauses and all that kind of stuff will work its way out fast. It really, really will. The more you keep putting content out, the better it's going to be. The more eyes you're going to get to your business, your projects, or whatever it is you're doing. Because I don't know about you, but the internet is literally, it's free eyes to look at whatever you're doing. I could sit here and build whatever I'm building in my garage completely by myself, and no one is going to know except for the guy that I built it for. Or I could make a video, post it on some stories, and now it's getting out to tens of thousands of people are all looking at what is happening here. And now that's opening the doors for A, either more business, B, consultations, C, events. I mean, the list keeps going on.
Well, and that's such a good point. It also opens the door for criticism.
100%. Oh, yeah.
For putting yourself out there. And
don't forget about that part.
But also, and it's sometimes hard getting over the imposter syndrome and the like, who wants to watch a video of me talking about installing these head bolts?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a huge hurdle I find for people at first. And if you ever read my comments on my YouTube channel, we get, and actually the Woman Machine channel as well, we get some negative stuff for sure. And it can be really hard, There are some times where I open up my YouTube channel and just, want to respond to some comments, and, I'll be on set, or I'll be doing something, in the shop that requires a lot of focus. And, just like a couple of negative comments can really bring down your day. So putting yourself out there is really hard. But what I found is that overwhelmingly the response is positive. And the amount of people that I get saying like, hey, I'm a dad, my daughter watches your videos, or hey, I got my girlfriend came into the shop with me for the first time because she was inspired by, seeing what you and Karen do. It's like, oh my God, we live for those comments. We live for those couple little people that we affected. So when you are considering putting yourself out there, you can't think of it as a selfish thing. You can't think of it as a, hey, look at me thing. You have to think about it as this is my gift to the world.
Yes,
I'm
your
doing
service.
This service.
Exactly. You're providing a service.
Exactly. Exactly. And there are so few of us out there. We do kind of have a responsibility to show what we're doing and to do it in a very professional and kind way. We're very careful with the clothes that we wear. We want to represent women in automotive very well. So, we're wearing shop shirts, and we're wearing steel-toe boots, and we're wearing safety glasses. Those things are important because if someone sees only 5 women doing this stuff in their life, I want to make sure that the sample size is good in a way. Like I want to make sure that they see us. They see us being professional. They see us being certified. They see us being knowledgeable, and they view us as professionals. And we are doing that service to the next generation, the next person who had that impression of Karen and I being professionals, loving what we do, making it in the trades, and saying, hey, that's not just for some woman who couldn't do anything else, or for the woman who's raised by not a mechanic or raised by a welder. That's for very smart women who enjoy creating things and enjoy working with their hands.
And as far as the negative comments go, I mean, you really got to take them with a grain of salt, really, because you're never going to stop them. The people that are saying it are miserable, horrible people anyway. And I mean, if you think about it, do you really give a shit what jacked up Chevy 379 has to say about whatever it is that you're doing on YouTube? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody really cares what that guy has to say, okay? Because he's probably going to dust off his Cheeto-written hands and then go back to, hanging out in his, mom's calling, meatloaf's ready type deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are miserable people that are doing that are looking at you actually making moves, wishing they were in that position, and because they're not, and they want to be mad, they're going to they're lashing out at you about it. That's really all it is. So when you see that stuff, don't let it stop you from putting stuff out there, because if you are getting hateful comments, you are doing something 150% right.
Yes, and I hope that everyone listening to this takes that as a message, or takes that home, because you're right. It's like I've watched a million YouTube videos I don't like.
Yep.
I would never think of leaving a negative comment.
No, not at all. I mean, there's even stuff of
share negativity.
Right. There's even YouTubers I like, and I'll watch them build something, and they'll skip a step that they shouldn't have, and I'll be like, I ain't saying nothing. That ain't my place. You'll figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why are you gonna do that to somebody? You see what I'm saying? You're not. I understand constructive criticism. If you're like, hey, how about, I use this for this and it really worked out for me. Do you have any experience with that? I mean, there's a million ways to approach a question without coming off like a complete dick just talking bad about somebody.
Absolutely. And I've learned a lot from the people who respond to my YouTube videos.
Oh, yeah.
You also have to remain open. There's a lot of times where, like in the past, and thankfully I've been doing this for a while, so I've sort of grown and changed. In the past, I used to be very defensive. It's like, no, I don't want. I want your advice. I want your help. But now I'm just like, hey, now that I'm like way more secure in my trade, it's like I've learned so much from people who give me feedback on YouTube or feedback on Instagram or just feedback in real life. And it's like, at the end of the day, we all know what we know. We all have different skill set. We all have different background. We have different knowledge, and we can all benefit from what each other has to share.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's important that we all remain open to that, and then we all remember that we're all human. We're all just trying to do our best.
Right. And that's the other thing too. You're going to have, how you mentioned, you're going to get more positivity than you are the other way. It's because you're building your own tribe. The people that are following you for a reason. That's your own tribe. So it's like, what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? This is the way to go. Oh, did I lose you? I lost you. Hi, so sorry we got disconnected somehow.
No problem at all.
All right.
I was worried that my battery had died. It's typical.
Hey, phone overheated again. Shit. Yeah,
it's so true.
It's all right. It's all right. We're pretty close to the end here anyway. So as soon as Karen calls back in, we'll wrap it up with something or other. I don't know. It'll come to me once we get in the moment. But it's been good. It's been good.
Awesome. I've had so much fun.
Oh, me too. Me too.
My phone overheating is the bane of my existence. All of my YouTube videos are filmed on my old phone. And it's very hard for me to make any YouTube videos in the summer because my garage, my freeze, and I want to give up and overheat, but I can't. My phone does. A lot of times I have these aspirations of, I'm gonna do a leak down test and it's too easy. Let me film it, and my phone is like, sorry, camera is not operative because it's too hot out. I'm like,
oh wow.
If only I could be not operative because it's too hot out, but I don't have that luxury phone. Fuck you.
All right, so we're all back. We're all back now, correct?
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell happened there.
It's all good. It's all good. All right. Well, we're back. We had a slight technical difficulty. We'll just blame it on Area 51 or something, and then we'll keep going. I mean, we were talking about generating content, dealing with the hateful comments, sticking with understanding that you're going to get the more positive than you are the negative. So don't even pay attention to the negative stuff. You're literally building your own tribe with this, and those are the people that are going to be following you. It's going to be your tribe. Those are the ones that are going to be supporting you doing this stuff and counting on you now, because once you start doing this and you get to a certain point, now these people are counting on you. So that means you have to be consistent in putting out the content, because now you're going past just, making videos. Now you're entertaining and you're educating people on a basis that they're now depending on you for.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I took a little bit of time off this summer because I had so much going on. And I definitely noticed I got emails, I got phone calls. I from my upset YouTube subscribers. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was that important in your life, and Karen took some time off of Girls in Garages to fully delve into Woman and Machine and keep it going, which has been incredible. And now we're just like, okay, we're at this place where we're doing a relaunch. My YouTube channel is back up. I've been, producing a video a week now. And the response has been good. But, like you were saying, there's always going to be the negative, and it does take 15 positives in general to outweigh a negative.
Oh, yeah, because there will be that one negative that just ninjas your brain, and it stays there. And you'll be sitting there eating your Cheerios the following morning going, that motherfucker. It just happens.
That person thinks this about me. I can't believe it. Yes. I was like, it doesn't really matter, It doesn't really matter. Nah, be like the water and, and just have empathy for that person. But no, it is true, though. Like, you really do hold on to those negative comments. And I think that stops a lot of people. I think that stops a lot of people from putting themselves out there because, the internet can be so anonymous. And no one really, would anyone ever come up to my face and do those things to me?
No.
No. And if they tried, they have a really hard day.
Exactly. And that's the whole reason that people can just do what they do, because it took out the getting punched in the face for saying something mean to somebody. You see what I'm saying? They can say it without any consequences now. And they can say the most vile, hurtful thing and not have to worry about anything coming back to them. But if that was in person, they would never say it. So that goes to show you the type of people that are leaving these comments. They're cowards. They're cowards.
Absolutely. And then to counter that, we're also taught to be humble, and I'm speaking to you, Karen, even if we are living our hustle and we are busting ass and we are just doing these amazing things, we almost feel in a way too ashamed to share it sometimes because we don't want to be like, hey, look at me. And we also don't want to detract from another woman's light or another person's light.
Right.
But sometimes we forget that by doing what we do and by bringing other people together, that my success is your success and her success and his success. And that, at the end of the day, we're all just in this crazy struggle called life together, just trying to make ends meet and trying to do our best.
Absolutely. See, that's exactly why you two are where you are, 100%, because you have that mentality. That's what it takes to be an elite performer is the only way I can think about it. It takes that mindset, that constant go, that stay humble, but also know your talent.
I mean, it's still hard though. I know for every welding class, Karen, before every underhood basics, I've been teaching underhood basics for 7 years. I still get scared. I still freak out. I'm still like, I'm still just like, am I good enough to do this? Do people actually want to hear what I have to say?
Mm-hmm.
And Karen, they've been teaching welding for just two years, I'm sure. And I know every time we're still like, oh my God, why are we doing this?
I don't think that ever goes away though, if you think about it, because I remember, reading some, biographies from like some heavy metal, guitarists and stuff. And they'd be like, we might have done this for 25 years, but it doesn't matter. Every single time right before we start, they're all nervous. They're all like, they could be like multi-platinum selling, arena sold out type musicians. But every time before they get ready to go, they're still like, oh my God, have we fooled everybody? Are we still going to do this? That's exactly what it is. And that never leaves.
I think it's healthy, though.
Yeah.
I think it shows that we're not sociopaths.
Oh, yeah. I think if you ever get to that point where you're just like cool with going in front of a crowd of 50,000 people, there's probably something wrong with you. If you're not at least slightly nervous and checking yourself like, oh, man, you want to listen to me? You sure?
Yeah, or you're taking some sweet drugs or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I ain't found them yet.
I think that there's healthy respect that we have for the place that we're in, because we do always want to make sure that that we represent women in trades really well.
Yeah.
And that the knowledge that we're spreading is good. It's like, even though I've been doing this for 10 years, before Underhood Basics, I still check and make sure, like, hey, is there a different color coolant that I don't know about? So when I say, hey, coolant comes in these colors, and these colors correspond to, hey, Subarus will sometimes use blue, and Toyotas use red, and Toyotas use pink, and hey, there's this yellow stuff. Hey, has a ultraviolet color come out? I don't know. I will always double check and make sure. Well, actually, there was a purple coolant. I will always double check and make sure that everything that I do is accurate. So I think sometimes that that sort of that healthy level of self-judgment, not so far to stop you from doing things, because you always want to be somewhat risk-taking, and you always want to be, you never want to be so afraid that you stop yourself from doing what you want to do. But that healthy level of skepticism and self-doubt and a little bit of imposter syndrome, I feel like is kind of healthy to balance you out from being boastful or prideful, too prideful. I mean, I do believe that you should take pride in what you do. I think that's good, but that sort of unhealthy and sort of I guess gross level of pridefulness.
The narcissistic level.
Exactly. Yes. That you never see yourself as any better than anyone else. That you're still just out there doing your best and sharing your knowledge.
Yeah.
And checking yourself. That healthy fear, I think, is good.
Yeah, I always try to tell people, don't necessarily go out there to beat anybody. Go out there to just do what you can do, at the best you can. And if you're good enough, you'll beat everybody anyway, so don't worry about it.
Because your competition is not other people.
Right.
I mean, granted, I'm not like an athlete that's like competing for a gold medal or anything, but our competition, this is a reason why I really love working with Karen so much. Is she's not out there competing with me. I feel like we're not competing with any other women. That's not our goal. We're competing with the person we were yesterday.
Yep.
And we're competing against our own self-criticism. We're competing against our own procrastination. We're competing against the person that does not want to get up at 7 a.m. and run around the block to make sure that we're awake enough to, have that phone call or fix that car or have that meeting or write that article.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only competition that we have is the person that we want to be in our minds and ourselves from yesterday, last month, and last year. And I hope that everyone on Earth feels that way, because it would be a better place.
I think that's a great place to put a pin in it. I love that, what you just said. It's awesome. All right, ladies, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been an absolute blast.
Oh my gosh, it's been our pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting us. I'm so humbled for the opportunity. I think, Karen, this is our first podcast that we've ever done, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're really picky.
Awesome.
For everything.
Yeah. Hey, it was my pleasure. Honestly. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show and exposing my listeners to what it is that you do and the stuff that you do and vice versa. I mean, this is what we're talking about. This is how this all works. And I absolutely look forward to having you both back on again.
Oh, we can't wait. And I'm sorry that we won't see you at SEMA, but I hope that we get an opportunity to meet some of your listeners at SEMA.
Oh, definitely.
So if they follow us on Woman and Machine, we'll be putting announcements where people can meet us, and we would love to meet other people, men and women alike. We're we're happy to meet everyone, and we don't discriminate. And it'd be so great to see you again sometime.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I tell you what, when you guys get some flyers or stuff that's telling everybody where you're going to be at SEMA, send them my way. I'll put them on my social media as well. That way, everybody that's listened to this podcast that's going to be at SEMA will know exactly where to find you as well.
Awesome. Will do. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies. You take care.
Will do. You too.
All right.
Until next time.
Until next time.
All right, folks, that's wrapping it up from the Motor City Arc Junkies Podcast with your host, Jimmy McKnight. We appreciate you tuning in each and every week. We love you. We'll see you next time.